To Stepping Up with Lady One Step, and I got my special co-host here, Lady
Le-
Love,
Did they start it?
and
Oh,
and
good.
she registered. Lady Love,
Hi,
how are
DJ
you?
Lady One
How
Step.
are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm just trying to make it and keep it together. Got off of work. A lot going on.
Okay.
A lot going on. One of our associates, I'm sure you all heard about it in the news, Taylor Starks. She's actually one of my patient transporters. Her son was badly beaten
Oh my
by his
goodness.
babysitter.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and the baby passed
Passed away.
yesterday
Yeah.
at Ascension
I,
St. John Moral. So I'm at Ascension St. John Macomb in Oakland.
okay.
And yeah, she actually worked at our department. So it was a lot going on yesterday and just trying to get communications and stuff out to our diversity and inclusion team and our Abide ministry that Ascension represents.
And that is so sad.
Yeah, so it was a lot going on. But we feel for the family and we're doing the best that we can to make sure that she has everything that she needs to. She has our full support. So
That's
yeah,
good, and
yeah,
she needs it right now because she said
absolutely.
she didn't have
She didn't have any
anybody.
family, no, her mother or father, and our family, and I call my team a family. And we all get together. We all make sure everybody is taken care of in whatever capacity
Mm,
is needed. And she knows that she has a family there.
that's
So
good.
yeah, so one of our associates that's a part of our safety and celebration committee
Hmm.
is they got all the cards and donations and things together on top
Okay.
of everybody in the community donating to her GoFundMe, which is a
Hmm.
beautiful thing. She actually raised a nice amount for her baby and the
Hmm.
support too. But um, it's saddening. That's a mother's worst nightmare to even think of.
That you're somebody you
Someone
consider
hurting.
that you someone you consider a friend.
Yes, yes, and
That's devastating.
for the young lady to be so close to her and had been helping and watching the baby,
Hmm.
so it wasn't like he was like a brand new, you know, client basically of hers. It was someone that she was close to.
Hmm.
So yeah,
And that's
it's
just
hurtful.
terrible. I
Yes,
just feel
yes,
so bad for her
yeah.
because you don't expect to bury your baby. First of all,
Mm,
you second of all, you don't expect somebody that you care for, that you consider a friend, to hurt your baby.
exactly,
And then
exactly.
third, she is her. She don't have nobody, no mom, no
That's
dad,
all
no
she
sisters,
had.
no brothers, nobody.
Right.
But thank God she has good coworkers.
And
She has a
oh yeah,
support system.
she definitely has a support system. Yes, and we're doing everything possible to make sure that she has what she needs.
That's
Getting the
good.
message all across the whole nation of Ascension and touch point. So
That's
yeah,
good. Because
yeah,
she's gonna need a big hug for a long time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because after she puts her baby to rest, now she has to go through the trial
Right. The
and relive it
process.
all over again.
Yep. Yep.
So she's gonna need a big hug continuously
Continuously. Yeah.
for a
So
very long time.
yeah. So it's definitely something that the nation needs to be aware of to love. We've been talking about that for weeks now.
For weeks,
To be
exactly.
mindful and to connect and our young people are really they need guidance.
They do. They
They
do.
need it. I it's so important. It's like what do you have to do and what do you have to say? And what I'm noticing is that what has to be done is tragedy
Mm-hmm.
for you to see like, hey, look at your actions, this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately that's it happens like that,
Right.
you know.
Exactly.
But how do we get to the point to where we don't have to have tragedy?
I don't have a clue.
You know?
I don't have a clue because people are just. It seems like since the pandemic, the last 2 years or so, it's gotten progressively worse.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know if people just don't have any hope. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
people don't take mental health as
There it is.
serious as they should.
There it is, Lady Love. Oh, I was going to call you Lady Love. DJ Lady wants to. But that's what it is. It's mental health, and the awareness is key.
And the fact that we don't really recognize it in our community,
Yeah.
it's like they put a stigma on it on you if you
Hmm.
say I have to go to therapy
Yeah.
or I have to take medication. Then they shun you because you're trying to be the best person you can be, but to be the best person you can be, you need to go to
You need
therapy
therapy.
and or take medication.
Yeah. For
Why
that
should you
balance.
treat me different because I'm trying to be the best me I can be?
Right. It's interesting. It's interesting. And it can derive from genetic, it can derive from your food, it can derive from drugs.
It can
What is altering your DNA? What is altering your
it
thinking? What
could
is
be
altering? It could be so many
it
facets.
could be your environment.
It can be your environment. What you're around, that's what you're adapting to, because
Hmm.
whatever you see, you're going to gear towards that.
Hmm.
Like if it's okay, then that's what makes that person accept that norm.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
ah,
So
DJ Lady wants to you always pull me in. You just be like, woo.
I mean, we got to talk about these things. I'm going to play
We
some music, but
do.
we got to talk about these things.
We
We
do.
need to we need to bring this to the forefront. I mean, I know it's a little heavy for some people, but we got to
It
bring it
needs
to
to
the
be
forefront.
talked. It needs to be addressed.
It needs to be addressed. Well, once again, welcome to Stepping Up with Lady One Step here on
What's up, y'all?
WJZZ Cool TV with my girl Lady Love
Yes.
Registered.
Hey, y'all.
You can check us out on Facebook,
Facebook,
Twitter,
Twitter,
Twitch,
Twitch,
and
and
sometimes Instagram.
Instagram. Yes, that's awesome sauce.
So
All those platforms you can check us out on.
that's it.
Tune in.
Tune in. And if
Whichever
you
one
want
is
to
your
call
favorite.
in, you can call in at 313-355-6018. That's 313-355-6018.
Yes. Someone is coming knocking on our door. Come on, knock on our door. 'Cause we've
And
been
we'd
waiting
like
for
to
you.
welcome to the platform
Hi.
Dominique Johnson.
Good evening. Clap it all the way around.
Good evening.
And Dominique
Yay.
Johnson is here to tell us about why and what inspired her to bring etiquette to our community.
Oh, yes. So,
What?
yes. So, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it. It's so nice to be welcomed into a platform like this to be able to talk about it. So, I am the owner of Marie Decorum School of Protocol.
Awesome.
I launched it in 2020, actually in the middle of the pandemic, like in April of 2020.
Wow.
And it was something that I wanted to do for a long, 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 long time. I've always talked to the youth, been involved with them. I have children myself, and they have friends, and a lot of their friends they've known since they were, in kindergarten. So they're like my kids,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's always been something that I wanted to do, always down on the inside. And so um, it's just been a passion, and I wanted to be able to bring it to our communities so we can be able to go back to some of the basic things that we used to have long time ago that we don't see anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So what drew you to establish that business? What did you see that was needed to establish that business?
So my profession is a nurse. I'm a nurse by profession. And so because of that,
Mhm.
there was a lot in my professional life dealing with patients, dealing with the community, dealing with other nurses. Even some of the younger nurses that were coming after me,
Mhm.
they had no idea of what professionalism looked like,
Mm.
no
Mm.
idea of what it looked like to effectively communicate with another person.
Wow.
It was
So that was something that you were introduced to. Like,
actually yes. And once I got into nursing, because my my mother is a nurse, but it was some things that you don't really understand until you get in it yourself. And so once I got into nursing, it was a whole nother world opened up to me, and I was like, wow, if this is how you are at 22, 23 as a nurse, then we know that as a youth, as a young person, nobody was instructing you on how to properly communicate, how to uh, present yourself appropriately, or not to come to work with red hair or blue hair.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what is the age range of your students at your school of protocol?
So I go from 9 all the way up to 18.
Okay.
Even I do have some parents that they're like, I've known their child their whole life, so they're going off to college. So it's like college readiness and all of that. So from 9 to 17, 18 is kind of where I am right now.
Okay.
Yes, they need it.
So you not only do you instruct young ladies, you instruct young men too, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, wonderful.
So
Yes.
you're teaching the young men how to be gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Ooh, that's awesome.
So I have 3 sons myself. I have a 17, 13, 11, and then a 7-year-old little girl. And so my sons, boys want to be rough, tough, and dig in the dirt, and that's fine. Please, I'll play in the dirt with you. But when it's time to come in the inside, you have to know what you're supposed to do. I don't open the door for myself. I don't care where I am. I will stand while I'll wait for them to open the door. I don't open doors. I don't take out trash. I don't do none of that stuff. I don't all the things that young men are supposed to do. I teach them. Put a belt on. If my sons ever have on pants and they don't have a belt on, they already know.
Girl, the world needs like a million of you.
Exactly.
Their world is like gonna end because they're like, well, Mom, my pants fit. I don't care where your belt. I don't want to see your underwear.
Yes.
If I see your underwear, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah. That is a stigma. Like, where do we get comfortable with our pants below our behind? Why is that so easy to walk around? What triggers a male or a young man to even want to present themselves?
Well, so historically, you have to kind of go back to where it initiated from, which was in prison, which is in a prison system.
Yeah.
But um, they have taken it and made it as if it's this cool cultural thing to hang your pants down, to say like as if you the cool kid on the block. But see, let me see, what's this month? This is June. So earlier this year and a little bit of last year, I was teaching in one of a charter school, Detroit Charter School, and I was teaching the juniors and the seniors. And when I explained to them why young men were hanging their pants down, they stopped.
Oh, so they didn't know.
They didn't know.
Wow, they did like one stuff. They didn't know.
They did not know.
This is what we keep talking about. They don't know.
They don't know. And the sad thing is, this is why it's so important for our communities to know, because the parents really don't want their sons. The moms and dads really don't want their sons to be walking around with their pants hanging off their behind and all that. But if they don't know, then they can't teach them. So it's imperative that we, get the parents involved and get them educated to say, your daughter needs to know why it's important for her to carry herself properly, even in public and in private, on social media and in school, on Instagram and in school. It's important for your son to know that, hey, you ain't got to post somebody else's money on your Instagram.
Right.
You can do something. You have a gift, a talent, and ability that God gives everybody to make your own money, to be able to go get it.
You're doing a good job. Oh, you're doing awesome.
Yes. So I have my first group of students that will be having their recognition in a couple weeks.
Okay. So how long is the process?
So these students have been with me since January. So my etiquette year will go from January until June every year.
Okay.
And my goal even for next year is for them to have an annual gala where all of my students, the boys and the girls, come together and they get dressed up and they put on a tux, is black tie. The young ladies put on dresses and they have fun. They learn how to, do some ballroom dancing, have some fun, show their parents what they learned. do some speeches. I did a lot with public speaking with my students so that they can be confident. Because I tell them all the time, you guys are the solution to somebody's problem. And if you don't know how to sit at the table and you don't know how to conduct yourself when you get to the table, then how can you be the solution?
I have a question. So, when do you have your classes? From January to June? Are they after school? Is it like after school program?
Yes. So it's structured.
I'm enrolling my son. Girl, give me all the details.
I sure will.
My son will be in your class. He's 15.
Awesome. And that's the age group that I love because they are hilarious.
Aren't they hilarious? They're so,
and they kind of like in that awkward phase.
They are.
And so they really want some direction.
They gotta find themselves. Yes.
They really want some direction.
They really do.
So classes currently, because of pandemic and everything, we were online doing virtual. So I'm going to be able to transition into doing in person because virtual learning is good for, when you need to use it. But for these types of courses, it needs to be in person where the attention span is being able to, I can retain them. It's difficult when they're online because then they have all this other stuff they worrying about, thinking about.
Too many distractions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Once again, welcome to Steppin' Up with DJ Lady One Step on WJZZ Cool TV. You can check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and sometimes Instagram. And I have my special guest, Dominique Johnson.
Welcome,
yes,
Dominique.
thank you.
And Dominique Johnson is not only a business owner and a nurse, she's also an author.
Yes.
She's written a book, and we'll talk about that if you don't mind.
We can talk about whatever you want. I'm an open book.
And she's trying to get our community together on a higher level.
Absolutely.
And she said the students in her protocol school, she'll take them from 9 years old to 18 years old. And it doesn't matter whether they're male or female, she will teach them how to be young adults, young responsible adults. With class and etiquette.
Yes. Yes.
So,
yes.
Tell us about the book you wrote.
Okay, so my book is one of my babies, but it's called, my very first book that I wrote and published on my own. It's called Rising Out the Pit of Rejection. And it was the story of my life for where I came from, having issues with my biological dad that wasn't in my life, having a lot of rejection issues, and how I live my life making decisions from a hurt place out of rejection, and how it caused me to be in situations that I wasn't supposed to be in. Number one, God did not design me to be in those situations, but because I was not healed and whole and able to understand how to make decisions and live my life, I made some horrible choices, but God was there the whole time, instructing me and guiding me on how to get out of that place. And it's my baby, my very first book.
Girl, you literally are like reaching. Look, both of y'all, I don't know, I need some water. Oh, somebody could you give me some water, please? I need to pour it on me. But rejection.
It's a big topic.
The world is living in rejection and acting on rejection. That's why they're doing what they're doing.
Yes. That's why they're seeking.
They're making those decisions. They're trying to find their way.
Absolutely.
I need everybody to read your book.
Yes, everybody can get my book. They can get it on lulu.com, LULU.com, and just search my name, Dominique Johnson, and it'll show up, Rising Out the Pit of Rejection. So many teenagers battle with rejection, even when the parents are in the home, even when they have been giving and afforded so many other things that like the parents didn't have, they still battle with that. And so if you don't have a person to be able to see your child and see that in them and help to correct it and pull it out, then they're gonna go through some things that they don't necessarily have to go through.
If you have any calls, if you'd like to call in and talk to Miss Dominique Johnson about what's going on, please dial us up at 313-355-6018. That's 313-355-6018. Stepping up with DJ Lady One Step here on WJZZ Cool TV with my hostess with the mostest, Lady Love Registered.
Registration, our circle.
And our special guest once again, my girl, Miss Dominique Johnson.
Dominique Johnson.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
She's got a lot going on. So, what else is going on with you? Are you writing another book? Are you going to expand your business as far as etiquette? What do we learn in etiquette class?
So, first of all, yes, I am working on another book. This will be my third book. So I wrote Rising Out the Pit of Rejection. I co-authored another book called Breaking the Cycle of Around Sexual Abuse with 7 other women. Wrote that book, and now I'm writing my third book, which will hopefully be out before the end of the year.
And what will the subject matter be?
It will be called Divorcing Mental Illness.
We were just talking about
everything you're talking about. We're just talking about it. I'm like,
oh wow.
That's why I said somebody come here and bring me some water.
Yes, it's very funny because when I tell people the title of the book, they're like, "Wow." I'm like, "Yes." People will tell you that you should not be with somebody mentally ill, but once you are free from the person, you still have to get free from being in a relationship with them, and they don't always tell you how to get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of like, "You should leave, girl. You should leave, guy." But when you do, okay, now what?
Now what do we do?
Now
where do we go from here?
How do I pick up the pieces of my life, and how do I not live in that same place mentally that I was with, in when I was with the person?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that book's about.
We can be sitting here talking all day.
But we need to have these conversations,
yes,
because like we were talking about before you came, how the fact that in our communities we don't talk about going to therapy or having to take medication. We don't talk about it. Yeah. And if you talk about it, if I say, well, I have to take medication or I have to go see a therapist, then you shun me.
Yes. Actually, I had the same conversation. I think it was yesterday. I was telling somebody, I said, unfortunately, in our communities, because of the fact that it's that whatever happens in your house, stay in your house, people are jacked, broken, mentally ill from that. Not even necessarily that they really had something, but from that. And I tell people, you need Jesus and therapy.
Yes, you do. Mm-hmm. You need something positive.
See, here's the thing that people don't want to do. They don't want to be real. I was seeing a therapist for 3 years. And when it was time for her to discharge me, I said, "Oh, hold on. What you talking about?"
What does that mean?
What you talking about?
You go through the fact in all families, it doesn't matter whether a black, purple, red, or green, you got a child that's being sexually abused. They tell, but the parents or the supposedly responsible adult doesn't do anything about it, because either the abuser, they're afraid of the abuser, or the abuser is paying all the bills. So we just got to deal with it because he's taking care of us.
Yeah, and that's
sad, but it's
true, and that happens.
Yes,
all of the time.
Yeah, or you have the flip
or they sweep it under the rug. Well, we ain't gonna talk about Uncle so and so.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to talk about Uncle so and so, and he need to be in jail.
Absolutely.
Get in there.
Stay in there until
you get therapy.
Yeah, and that's the sad part, because even when you do have families that have had histories of sexual abuse, nobody talk about it, but we should, because hey, if Uncle Bobo did it, then his son might do it too, because we don't know what Uncle Bobo was doing to the son. And then you got the same cycle continue, and then you got a whole family full of dysfunction. And if somebody would have had one conversation and shine the light on it, then it would no longer be somebody else to have to go through that.
But that's what happens. The courage. They don't have the courage to shine the light.
Yeah.
They don't want to do that. Like DJ Lady loves Lady. I'm gonna call you my name. That lady part there. Like DJ Lady One Step said, hey, we have to talk about it. we have to do something about it. If we don't do something about it, then it just keeps getting swept under the rug. But the courage has to be there.
Yeah, and that's the
And
goal, confidence. Yeah.
they're losing they're losing hope, or men and women are losing hope in having courage. But
Mhm.
it takes enlightenment.
And heaven forbid if it's auntie that's doing it, they ain't gonna
Yes.
never tell on auntie.
Hmm. But see, and that even goes back to some of the things that I teach in my course. We
Mm-hmm.
talk about a lot. The very first portion of my program, we talk about character development,
Mm-hmm.
and we talk about bravery. We
Mm-hmm.
talk about courage. We talk about perseverance, doing it even though you're scared, even though you're nervous, and even if you fail,
Yeah.
you still got to get back up and try again or do it again. And
Mm-hmm.
I use me because I need them to know that, hey, if somebody did do something, I'm the first example for you to see, to say, hey, you can say something, and it frees you so that you no longer have to feel that hurt and that pain and all that stuff that you feel.
Exactly.
And then we need the support. We
Hmm.
need a
Right.
support system.
Hmm.
Who can you go to? Who can you talk to?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And some people don't have anyone to talk to.
Absolutely. And that's why I have so many of my students that I have right now. We have a group chat, and we text, and we FaceTime and all that. I check in, they check in on me, and they call themselves Miss Dominique's daughters. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they like want to be with me all the time. So they have to have a safe space. And so this is why parents in our communities need to know that, hey, sometimes you're not your child's safe place.
That's
And
right.
Exactly.
sometimes it's okay. It doesn't for you to enroll your child in an etiquette class does not mean that you're a bad parent, doesn't mean that you don't have a good compass, but sometimes you need extra support. It takes a village.
That's
It
right.
takes a village.
That's
It
right.
takes a village.
And people have to realize that it does take a village. And it's very important that, but like we said last week, sometimes the people don't want the village's help.
Hmm.
Don't You can't talk to my son like that. You can't talk to my daughter like that. You're not their mama. You're not their daddy.
Mm. But here's the thing. I remember when I took my brother down to they used to have a little program at the jail, and
Mm-hmm.
he was doing some crazy stuff. And so I told my mom, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take him down there. Let him see what it inside of a jail look like, so he'd never want to go.
So, like, what? So, okay. So, what kind of programming? How did you know about it?
So I don't. Okay, this was years ago. So I think one of my friends, I think he was working. I think he worked down there somewhere in like for the cadets or police department or something, the
Okay.
sheriffs or something. And he told me about it, and I was like, oh, yes, that's exactly what. Yep, I remember. Yes, that was who it was. A friend of mine at that time. He told me about it, so I took my brother, and
Wow.
we went down there, and they talked to them straight. They said all the things that the parents don't want to say, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the boys and girls in there were crying, and they were scared off their mind. But do you know, I don't think they probably ever went back into a jail cell. But so sometimes, even myself, I have, like I said, I got children myself, and I'm not always my kids' safe space. And so I had to be learn to be okay with that, as long as I know the person you're talking to is somebody that has character, have some
Mm-hmm.
morals, have
Mm-hmm.
some integrity,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not going to tell you to do anything wrong.
Right.
Go
Right.
talk to them.
Has your best
Right.
interests. Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta have your best interest
They
at
got to
heart.
have a safe space. They
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to have. And so a lot of times parents just have to know that it don't make you a bad person. We all need help.
They don't come with a book of instructions.
I know I tell people all the time there are many, many books about parenting, but nobody has coined it perfectly.
Right.
Exactly.
Everybody has their own renditions.
Nobody has coined
Because
it.
it all depends on how you were brought up,
Yeah.
your
The
environment, your
environment.
what you're going through emotionally, mentally,
Yeah.
physically,
Hmm.
financially. It has a lot to do with that.
It sure
All,
does.
It
And
has
all,
a
we were
lot
all
to
of
do
talking
that.
with
about
that.
environment earlier. It,
Hmm.
it plays a major role. You don't know what's going around, like, what going on around someone and what they're going to learn, because whatever's going on around them, they're going to think it's okay,
Hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that'll be the way of life. You know.
Yes. Hmm.
Yep.
And that's very true. So then that's where it comes in, where you have to be willing to interject something else when you see that what you're doing isn't working.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got
And
to.
so that's where the community comes in and programs come in and
And
etiquette
new
training comes
opportunity.
in and all of those different things when it comes in.
Yes, yes, yes. Like my son loves, like every boy, some girls, the video game, right?
Hmm.
I said, babe, we need something else.
Hmm.
We got to do something else. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like this. Well, what do you like? Well, I don't. Here, we love music. You got a family of musicians. Mama's a musician, grandma, granddad, your auntie, the twin auntie, which is my twin sister.
Oh, you got
Family of
some
music.
musical talent. You got some
Let's go to
gifting.
Guitar Center.
Hmm.
Would you play the guitar? Yeah, I'll play the guitar. Girl, he went to the guitar. I took him to Guitar Center. He went in there and was in heaven.
Hmm.
Soon as he ran straight to the guitars.
Hmm.
He was looking at them and couldn't figure out which one. When he saw the one, he saw the white one. That's Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix had a
The
white
white
guitar. I
one.
was like, oh, good. But then he saw another one because the rep came and promoted this other one. He's like, well, I want that one. So I went to the counter, paid for his amp. He had a Fender amp and got the guitar, his little strap. I'm looking for him. He went back to the guitar wall
Hmm.
to practice on another one. While I pay for the one he's going to be practicing, I said, we found your niche.
Absolutely.
It takes us to pay attention.
Absolutely.
We
Yeah,
have
just
to
have to
look.
pay
I'm like,
attention.
okay, you're not. I'm like, something. We got to give you something.
Yes.
You don't want physical sports. You should. You're tall as up. Well, two of my older sons are 6'7".
Hmm.
So
Okay.
he's on his way
Oh,
there. He's
yeah.
only 15.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
like, you don't want a ball. You would have been a great ball player.
Yes.
But you didn't want to do that. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, well, you just going to hold the guitar, Jimi Hendrix, 6'7".
Absolutely. And that's
Nothing wrong with that.
nothing.
ain't.
And that's
Sure
and even
ain't.
for my own son, like my oldest son, I had to force him to do some stuff that he didn't want to do. Like he didn't want to do debate. I said, well, listen, you talk to me to death all the time. This was some years ago. So I'm like, you talk to me to death all the time, and it's always a debate.
Debate.
Mm-hmm.
So now let me help you to go do that with somebody else.
Yeah.
And he actually won. He won some awards.
Danny.
And
Good
then
for him.
and then my middle son, he's into video games too, and he's into anime and some other things. And I was like,
Yeah, they
you
love
need to be
anime
more
too.
social.
Mhm.
So I was like, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do. You're gonna join the student council. I want to join the student council. Ugh. I filled the application out. I said, now when I call this school, they better tell me that this application got put in.
Mhm.
So he ended up being on student council, and his social life grew, and he became more
He
responsible.
just needed that.
He
little
needed to
push.
push.
Just a little nudge.
something.
Mhm.
Just a little nudge.
Just the mama nudge to say,
Yeah.
I said we're gonna do it. This is what you're gonna do.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Once again, welcome to Stepping Up with DJ Lady One Step here on WJZZ Cool TV. If you'd like to call in, you can call in at 313-355-6018. That's 313-355-6018. If you have any questions for our guest, Dominique Johnson, or if you have any questions for Lady Love, registered, or if you have any questions for me, DJ Lady One Step, feel free to call in. That's 313-355-6018 on WJZZ Cool TV on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and sometimes
Instagram.
But yeah, as parents, we have to help our kids find their niche. We have to.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is also a thing too for them to see other things besides what they see every day, for them to get an inkling or even a spark
Yes.
to do something different.
Something. Yep. If they don't see it, they won't know it.
Exactly.
That's it.
So one of the things I had my students do for Women's Month, which I think was in March, I had them to
Mhm.
find a woman that you don't, not anybody common that you have commonly heard for Black History or none of that. Find somebody else.
Mhm.
And do you know they found some amazing women? And it was like, I never knew that this woman was an engineer. I never knew that she did this. Or
Mhm.
it generated another part of them to say, oh well, maybe I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Start planting those seeds.
Absolutely.
We have
Love
to.
it.
Have to.
Absolutely. So what my school is doing a event this August. It's going to be called Etiquette in the Park, along with the pop-up shop.
Okay.
So we're going to be talking about why we need etiquette, what
Thank you.
education. That's the first part. Educating the community on why we need etiquette, why it's important for your child to know how to give a proper interview. We had That was something I discussed with the seniors that I just was teaching.
Mhm.
Hey, you want to go to college, and you have, if you're a ball player too, you want to be able to go on these interviews and all of that. You have to know how to interview.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's
It's only
right.
three. When I explain to them how many spots there really are in like the NBA, 300. Do you know how many students? Do you know how many college kids are trying to get
Trying to get
one
in.
of those spots? If you don't know how to interview, you don't know how to conduct yourself, you don't know these different skill sets, then you are at a disadvantage.
Yep.
Mhm.
They have to really be able to understand, to be open,
Mhm.
and not be afraid.
Hmm.
And if you can learn how to tell your story, no matter how traumatizing it may seem and feel, you will be able to capture your audience,
Exactly.
whether it's an interviewer or anywhere,
Hmm.
anybody that you're for. And it's so important for that courage to be there, because if they don't have it, they won't understand to know how to do it.
Absolutely.
And they have to practice it to know how to do
Exactly.
it.
It's just like
Etiquette class would be the perfect opportunity.
it's just
You
like
messed
when
up a
my
million
daughter was
times.
growing up.
Yes.
Like I said, she competed with other inner city children, Flint, Grand Rapids, Detroit, Highland Park, Hamtramck, to go to the Upper Browns program.
Oh, okay.
She was a 3.5 to 3.7 student, so that helped because
Hmm.
that was the point. But some of the 4.0 students didn't get chosen because why? They did not interview.
Wow.
See?
Look at how important that is.
Yes.
They would ask them a question, they'd be like, they them to death.
Yeah.
They didn't let their light shine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they weren't selected. They're heartbroken, but you didn't know how to interview.
Right.
Mhm.
You're smart in books,
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
but you don't have that extra.
Connection.
The extra.
Yes.
And
Oomph.
and she was surprised that a lot of her friends that had higher grade point averages didn't go, but they didn't interview well.
Mm.
And I'm
And
sure
one
that
thing,
boosts her confidence up too.
exactly.
Sure.
And for her to be able to go and do whatever, she probably was fearless at that point.
At
Right.
because when she went to Cranbrook,
That's
they went
crazy.
for 6 weeks. They stayed there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a college experience. But they tested him, and when they used to have the MEP test
Yes.
in the ninth grade or something,
Mm-hmm.
she tested at third year of college.
Amazing.
Nice.
And the teacher at Cranbrook said she was the top dog amongst the top dogs.
Wow.
Excellent.
And could interview.
And can
And
speak.
could interview.
And can speak well. That's amazing.
So awesome. So, like, what do you do after your etiquette classes? Because I am so interested in letting my son venture with your program. So from July to December.
So I'm really just trying to build some activities and stuff for them to do,
Okay.
to bring them to come together, um, just team building things,
Gotcha.
just some fun stuff. Just
Okay.
have a weekend of, we're gonna go to the park, gonna do some stuff. I
Gotcha.
like to take my students to, it's called a tree runner. I don't know if anybody has
No.
done it. Tree runner is a place to where you have to do some obstacle courses and climb the trees and do these obstacles, and then at the end you zip line down. But you have your team with you, and they're like encouraging you. So when you're scared, somebody's like, "No, you can do it. Come on, you can do it." Because it's those team building exercises, or things that they do together, that helps them to build relationships with one another.
Mhm.
So they can have other people who think like them because they've been taught differently than other people, their other peers. So now they have somebody that they can call and say, "Hey, what do you think about such and such?" Because they know they can trust them because we did this team building exercise. Hey, when I was scared, you was the person that was like, "You got it. Keep going." So we're just doing some fun things, just some fun stuff for the next few months or whatever, and a lot of talking, a lot of planning, a lot of that stuff. So
That's good. That's
Yes,
good.
yes, yes, yes.
yes, I'm looking to try to find a building that I can have my classes in and stuff, and maybe Southfield, like Metro Detroit area. But
Okay.
so
So in your etiquette class, do you teach which I'm sure you do because you're a thorough individual. She is. I've been knowing her since she was a little girl.
Yes.
And do you teach the young ladies how to sit properly depending on what they're wearing?
Yes. Yes. That is something. So there's a whole section of teaching on grace, poise, ladylike sitting, how to walk like a young lady, how to sit like a young lady, how to sit on the couch.
Mm-hmm. Depending on what you have
Simple
on.
as that.
Yes, depending on what you have on. How to keep your leg. My daughter is 7, and she Bailey, she knows Bailey. Bailey hates to sit a certain way. Mommy, why not close them legs?
Mm-hmm.
Connect them ankles. What are you doing?
She's 7. Teaching
And
her
she's
at
7.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I teach the young men how to walk. You don't walk like, like you dragging yourself, from point A to point B, like you just drag,
Right.
no.
Like you tired of
You
yourself.
you tired of your own body weight. Like you tired of your own self.
Oh my goodness.
So I teach them, hey, young man, walk with confidence. You are, and then especially our African American males. Hey, you are African American male. People already automatically are going to assume that you're something that you're not. So if you are able to walk properly, when you learn how to shake someone's hand, when you open your mouth, you will blow them away because they have already counted you out from point A.
Absolutely.
So young ladies, when you sit, you have to sit like gracefully. Stop stumping around like you a dude. So and I recorded videos of me teaching that at the high school, and they were like cracking up, like, Miss Johnson, we don't. This feel weird. What you mean? We gotta.
The weirder it feels, that's how
It's supposed to be. Like my back. One young lady, she was like, "This hurt. This kind of feel weird on my back. I don't like this."
Because you're
Like,
sitting straight up instead of
like you
slouching.
slumping all over. Yeah, she was like, "I
Look at
don't
us trying to
like
make
this."
sure we straight.
Yeah, we
Hold
straighten
on.
it out.
She was like, "I don't like this." I was like, but by the time it was done, they were able to gracefully walk. And I put tape on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Walk the blue tape. If you can't walk the painter's tape, then we gotta start over. Walk the line.
Do you also teach them about cutlery?
Yes.
As far as this is a shrimp spoon, this is a shrimp fork, this is a salad fork, this is a dinner fork.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes. So, and one of the things that I really would like to do, so maybe one of your listeners is a restaurant owner, a fine dining restaurant owner. I would like to be able to connect with some different restaurants where we can go to those restaurants and of course pay maybe at a discounted rate because some of the parents may not be able to afford, that particular restaurant normally, but be able to take them to a fine dining experience where they see all of it. Because even like the young ladies that I have right now, when they have their brunch in a few weeks, the table going to be set for them and their parents, and they're going to have to show their parents how to use it.
Nice.
That's what I'm talking about.
You just brought straight home expat.
Yes.
Home
salad
economics.
Fork, dinner fork, knife, spoon. What is the fork and the spoon at the top of your plate for? One of my students was like, "Why we have them?" They're like, "What is this? We get to do with it." I'm like, "That's for what? Your dessert." They're like, "Oh,
yeah." They didn't know. They didn't know.
They're like, "Why we have all these?" They're like, we got 3 glasses." Yes, one is a water glass that never leaves your table. Oh yeah, that's why they bring us water all the time. I'm like, see,
it's clicking. Yeah, they get it. They get it.
It's clicking. Now they were like, "Oh, yes, wow,
that's awesome."
Yes, when my son turns 14 next month, he's gonna go to his first fine dining experience, and he's actually really excited.
Okay,
good.
Yes, they don't like to practice what I teach them, but they know how to do it.
Right. As long as they retain the information, we don't have to show you we know, but we know.
Well, we know.
Thank God you got the information.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm excited for the students to be able to have those fine dining experience because once you introduce them to it, it's like a whole new world. When I went to my very first fine fine dining restaurant. I was like, this is amazing. Like,
Mhm.
I don't have to ask you to film. I don't have to ask you anything. You're like watching me. You know, when I put my fork on and my knife on my plate the correct way, you came and got my.
You came and got
You
the food.
came and got it.
You
I didn't
just
have
put
to
it on there the
correct
correct way.
way.
Mhm.
Yes, because
Mhm.
one way people put it on there is just actually it just means that you're resting. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you're finished.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when I put my fork and knife on my plate, they came and got it, and I didn't have to ask for I didn't have to ask for anything. I was like, this is amazing. They came and bring you a warm towel and wash your hands and palate cleansers, and I'm like, oh, I
This
can
is
do
it.
this. This is it.
All the time.
Because they didn't know. Nobody knows about finger bowls.
Nobody. They don't even know they bring you warm towels to clean your hands.
Mhm.
They don't know.
They don't know.
I had one of the best services I had was I went to the Highlands downtown in Renaissance. It was the best service ever.
I haven't been there yet.
It is amazing.
Hmm.
First of all, the view
Mm.
of
That
this,
part.
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
view is amazing.
Wow.
The food, oh, top notch. But
Wow.
the service was impeccable.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And they're still down there.
hmm
Nice.
It's called the Highlands. Yes, and they do like lunch and dinner, of course, but reservations, reservation only. You definitely need to book out ahead of time. But that was the best. I think I spent like probably $250 or something. Best dining experience that I've had
Thus far.
thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yes,
Oh, I love it. Well, I'm
yes,
gonna go
it was
see.
great. It was great.
Check them out.
Yes, it was wonderful. It was
That's
wonderful.
good. I'm glad that you got to experience that, and I'm glad that you're willing to bring etiquette to the community.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful thing. Because I always wanted to know, like, that's different.
hmm
You know, when you first told me about it a little while ago, a couple of years ago, I'm like, that's different. Because most people open up, started businesses, the usual suspects.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
gonna bake, we gonna do some hair, we gonna do some
Do
nails.
some nails,
And you
yeah.
stepped
Oh, yeah.
all the way out of the box.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
And it's something that we don't know we need.
Yes.
That
we
part.
need it.
That part is that part that they don't know that they need it.
They don't know that they need etiquette.
That's right.
They don't know.
That's
They
right.
don't know. But it's and that's the burning passion that I have for people to know why they need it.
Yeah.
Not just your children, but why you need it. Why it would elevate your life
Mhm.
for you to be able to have a certain place of understanding and all thy getting, get an
Get
understanding
But
so that you can be
Yes.
able to elevate your life.
That's
but
right.
do you get some parents that after their children have passed the course and the parents have learned something that the parents' attitude change?
Yes. It's actually in a greater positive way.
That's what I was going to ask you because my next part two of my question was, do the parents become bougie because they
No, don't use that for it.
But you know
I
what?
mean, really,
It's a good question.
Yeah.
In reality, they don't become bougie, but they say, well, now, girl, I know when I go out, I'm gonna use it, but I ain't using it at home every day. But I know what I'm gonna do when I go out.
Okay.
So it's a lot of that
Mhm.
versus they become uppity and snooty.
That's what I'm talking about. Do they become uppity and snooty
No.
and bougie
Mm-mm.
because you gave them
Life skills.
you gave them a book of knowledge, and now they act like they wrote and read the whole book.
No, a lot of my parents that I have now are very like down to earth,
Good.
very centered,
Mhm.
morally good people.
Mhm.
And so the comments that I've been getting, they like, we love you, our child, my daughter loves you, my child loves you, they want to spend time, like you have been the best thing for them. They like when etiquette starts up again in January, I'm going to be the first one to register. Like it's
Not if I don't get there first.
Well,
Yeah,
hey.
I'm good at you.
however that goes.
Right.
But
right.
they are like the best parents. And so a lot of them are just grateful that their child has learned something different, and they have told me that they see a great difference in their child, in
That's
their confidence, and their
that's good.
ability to articulate themselves, even though they don't like to do public speaking. Even when we had the little thing for them to do in March, I sent the Zoom link to all the parents, and all the parents got on and watched their child do their presentations.
Mm-hmm. So, what about your assessment fees? Are your assessment fees um, kind of more leaning towards people that have like in a medium bracket, financial bracket, or is it like something that low income families can afford too?
Hmm.
Like, is there like a like how do you assess your fees?
So currently, my fee is just a weekly. I currently it's like $15 a week
Okay.
because we were in a virtual setting. And but once we move to a in-person setting, it's probably going to go to about $25 a week. And I wanted it to be something that's affordable, because a lot of times programs like such as what I'm presenting to the community can be expensive in
Mm-hmm.
other settings. And I don't want it to be something that's um, like laborious for the parent, or something that is just so overwhelmingly expensive
Yeah.
that the child misses out on the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer in whatever I don't have, God will make up the difference. And so that's why I really would like to keep it to where I can find a building that's really nice, of course, but it's affordable, so that I can keep my parents' costs where they can be able to afford to keep their child in.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Yes. And eventually, I'm believing I'll be able to get some grants, and
Mhm.
people will just start sewing and blessing and all of that stuff, that where those different issues won't be an issue, because people will want to give to something like this for the
So,
community.
do you have a grant writer?
I don't.
I know a grant writer.
Oh, great, because I need that information.
I, it's all about networking.
Absolutely.
It's all about
Yay.
networking.
Yay.
I know a grant writer. She's been writing grants for over 20 years.
Amazing. Well,
Absolutely.
listen, I need to get it with her immediately, because I would love to be able to do the process or whatever, so that I can be able to have a place. I really,
Yeah.
really want a place for
That-
them
and
to
see,
come.
that's what people don't understand. To get the grant, you have to have the business first. You can't get the grant and then start the business. You have to have it established. And since you're already established,
Yeah.
it should be relatively easy for you to get a grant.
Look at how God works.
See? Yeah.
Because that's something that I have really, really been like trying to figure out. Because there are some things in business, and just that you learn along the way. And like you said, in networking, and trying to network for, my school has been a little challenging, because I go to different events and they like, oh, you just teach people about forks and knives. I'm like, no, no,
See, they
that
missed the whole point.
it goes.
That's
Forks
a
and
teeny.
knives.
That's a teeny bitty, itty bitty spot up on the radar of what you teach.
And I actually intentionally placed it at the end of the program, because it's so much more
Mm-hmm.
than a fork and a knife. Etiquette is a life, like your lifestyle,
It is a
how you
lifestyle.
deal with people every day.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It's how you, like you said, it's how you sit, it's how you walk, it's how you talk, it's how you present yourself. Presentation is everything, whether it's you or a meal.
Mm-hmm.
Presentation is everything.
Absolutely.
And I commend you for stepping out of the box and starting this business to help us, to elevate us, to elevate the community. That's amazing.
That is.
Yes.
And I know that it can't do nothing but grow.
Absolutely.
Because first of all, you can always give God the glory.
All the time.
Y'all gonna make me want to see. I'm telling y'all.
See,
Yes.
you give him the glory, so he's gonna, while you elevating him, he gonna elevate you.
Yes, I gave the business. He gave it to me, but I gave it back to him a long time. When I look, Lord, you told me to do this,
Yeah.
and you already know what the challenge is gonna be.
Help
So
me. Yeah.
But the whole thing about it is for your good and his glory. So it's all gonna work out.
I love
I
that.
can
Your
see-
good, his glory.
yes,
I can
Master
see
that.
you having franchises.
that's something I desire.
I can see you having franchises because it's something that's needed. It's
Yes.
something that's definitely needed, and it can't do anything but grow because we need that.
Yes,
We need that. And
yes,
once your students graduate, they're going to tell their friends.
Yes, they're telling them now. They're like, come over to Miss Dominique's class. I'm like, send their mom my information.
Right.
Like, send their mom my number here. Take it. You can here. Take this
Word
card.
of mouth is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Word of mouth. Yes.
Is a beautiful thing. It will help a business grow and expand exponentially like that.
Sure
Yes.
will.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure will.
All of that.
So I am glad that we had this time together, Dominique.
Thank you.
I thank you for what you're doing in the community.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I
And
really
once
am.
again, I want to thank y'all for stepping up with Lady One Step each and every Thursday from 6 to 7 here at WJZZ Cool TV with my girl, Lady Love, registered on WJZZ Cool TV. And we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.